Hi everybody, this is Dr. Ali Mugabil and we are doing research skills. Today's presentation is specifically for mentors, mentoring undergraduate researchers, lessons learned. So the outline goes, we'll start with the introduction, recommendations, general workflow, tasks, and then we'll go into some notes and feedback from experience. This is a good one because we are sharing you the experience, real experience, and then we'll go into the conclusion. Now, differentiating factors between universities are outside the classroom. What makes a difference between excellent universities and less superior universities is what happens not inside the classroom, but rather outside the classroom. And this includes research and undergraduate research experience. The experience started since 1969, so it's not something very new. I mean, the formal way of the coordinated undergraduate research. Other than that, research has been then since the existence of universities, or even before. So before going into more details about undergraduate research or what have you, I just advise you to visit our introductory video where it talks about the motivation from student perspective, from mentor's perspective. It will give some research skills and explains the meaning of research skills. I will touch on these in a short way here in this presentation, but if you want to know more about undergraduate research and its importance, I advise you to visit our first video in this series. So we're ready to go. Okay, so first I'd like you to understand that there is two things. There is research skills and then there is research experience. As a mentor, usually you focus on the research experience. You give a problem, especially if you are technically involved, you give a problem about, for example, radar, positioning, or whatever technical field you are doing. But you have to keep in mind that the experience should include some skills, either being taught directly, like we do in our case, or indirectly embedded on the research experience. Among the things that we do teach is the introduction to research systems like Google Scholar and IEEE Explorer in our electrical engineering case, social networks for researchers, researchgate.com, for example, getting an ID number for the researcher, research management software, Mendeley, how to read a paper, proposal structure, journal, conference, submission, and management systems, time management, and online access control like Pomodoro, how to write literature review, presentation experience, attending in-house conferences, how to write a technical paper and preparing posters and presentations. Whatever the experience you go through, those are skills which are already embedded. But keep in your mind as a mentor that you want really to get this through to your mentees. So keep these skills, and these are independent of the subject you're going to cover. When it comes to the research experience journey, you usually start with a problem where you identify the problem, and usually the mentor is more involved here, and then we write a proposal, a short one or a fully developed proposal. We go through a literature review, key summary and reproduction of some main results, and then identifying contribution and writing the thesis statement, preparing the final product poster and contribution to conferences or expos, and then writing a presentation and final paper. So these are, when you look at it from time point of view. Okay, by the way, we have a Facebook page for our EE Undergraduate Research at KFUBM. For EE Undergraduate Research at KFUBM, I advise you to visit that. Okay, so we talked about research skills and research experience. Now, through our experience, we found out that going directly from the advisor to the students, especially if they're undergraduate, might not be the best way to go, because advisors are over-involved, the faculty members with administrative work and what have you, and students might find some gap to deal with, interact with the advisor. So it's always good to have a mentor. It's usually a postdoc or a graduate student. Here's one example. Mr. Ibrahim is my graduate student. And we found that the magic recipe for successful implementation is to have this link, the missing link, which is the graduate or postdoc. Now, this will allow a direct sharing of knowledge between the undergraduates and the graduate students, and it will break the ice. He will be with them mentoring and helping them solving the puzzles. So remember, the involvement of graduate students is very fundamental to the success. Your presence as a mentor is the key to the success of this undergraduate research experience. And would like you to always create more outcomes, do not create more load. So we don't want more load on faculty and on students. This guy who's a graduate student is supposed to be doing his own research or a postdoc, and those are supposed to be get involved rather than creating another load. So the presence of graduate students make the assignment natural. Advisor, mentor, mentee could be 1, 2, or 3 in usual cases. We tried, by the way, to do a short circuit here. In many cases, it's not very successful. So the mentor role is fundamental. We have developed guidelines for the students, for the mentors, and for the course instructors. You are welcome to visit my personal website, Muqaybel Research Skills. If you go to Muqaybel, MUQAIBEL, and search Google for research skills with Muqaybel, you'll find that we have all these developed guidelines are available, and I'm sharing them with you in the description. But I'm going to focus. So who is the mentor? A mentor who is a person. It's how do we define a mentor? A mentor is a person who is giving emotional support, who is assessing student skills, guiding, serving as a role model, supporting, challenging students, motivating them, building self-confidence, teaching, career advising, advancing disciplinary knowledge, introducing your profession, and then coaching, academic advising, building, encouraging, goal setting. So if you look at it, it encompasses lots of things. And I'm acknowledging the credit to the following reference for this slide. So it seems that the role of the mentor involves lots of things, but we'd like to focus more in what we make it reasonable amount of load. It should be natural. So when it comes to okay, so now let's focus on the key role of mentors. This slide and the one before come from the same reference. Thankfully, we have we picked 5 important aspects, including emotional support. So the role of the mentor would be to support students as they encounter challenges, because remember, the work is independent, not like class work. And then they should serve as a role model and teach students how to balance their demands. And then when it comes to career advising and goal setting, they provide vision about the future career and what would be good for them. And finally, advancing disciplinary knowledge, they should deepen the knowledge of the technical knowledge of the students in their field. So this is about who is the mentor and what is the key role that he has to play. Now the question would be, if this is the load, why should I mentor an undergraduate students? Okay, first, something to add into your resume, make you more prepared as a future faculty member. Get exposure to different advising and research methods and skills, because the skills that the student get, you'll also be exposed to them. Learn how to structure your research and divide it into small pieces. This is very important, because to give a problem to undergraduate students, you need to somehow be able to structure your work and get it into small pieces, and this is really helpful. Get help, simulation, experimental, literature review. So especially if you have good students, this is going to add to your work rather than being a load on you. And then performance metrics. Your mentee, the performance metric for the successful experience is that your mentee has his name on a published scientific paper. I mean, well deserved, not just put his name to make it a successful experience. So if you advise the students and you find at the end that he really deserves his name to be there, that's a good performance metric. Okay, now let's go into some recommendations. I have 2 sets of recommendations. We'll start with the first one. Okay, by the way, this picture on the side shows real students, undergraduate students, presenting their research work in our expo. Now, the mentor and undergraduate students should meet at least once per week. These are recommendations. They are not to be followed exactly, but this is our recommendation. You need to meet with undergraduate students at least weekly. It could be more. Mentor availability to students outside the scheduled meeting is very important through different means of communication, online meetings, Zoom, or what have you. Mentor and undergraduate students spend time in the same lab as graduate students to do the work, and we strongly advise to have a special desk for the students and to be graded, to be treated like a regular researcher. Undergraduate students record meetings minutes. We recommend that you ask them to make the minutes, write them down, and then sharing them with mentor. And the second set of recommendations include the following. Objectives should be defined clearly and beforehand. Don't let him get in without knowing what's going to come next, especially if he's just starting research. Objective can change with time, but important to have solid goals. A Gantt chart, time chart is a good practice to report objectives and estimated dates. Mentor and undergraduate students should be connected all the time. More interaction means fixing issues quickly and progress achieved. The workload of students should be considered when planning the objectives, because students go through major exams and midterms and so on, so you have to be reasonable with them. And then mentors should motivate students to raise their productivity, not just for credit and experience and CV. You should try your best to make them productive. Now, when it comes to the workflow, how things would flow, you start first by explaining the ideas. So you meet them, the basic idea, the state of the art, what's being done in the research, and then you ask them to prepare summary and literature review. You share paper with them, ask students to summarize 1 or 2. Visual summary is better, so they should have like a flow chart showing the different papers. Be specific in what the expectations are. Teach students how to read a paper if he's not taught through another mean, like research skills course. Judge students if anyone went beyond the provided paper. If you provide him 1 and he come up with 2, usually this is a very good sign, and you need to take care of this very good seed. All papers and the finding must be well discussed by the mentor and the advisor or the mentor. And I personally prefer if at least 50% of the discussion will be taken by students. So don't just keep speaking and make him listen. Ask him to get involved. At least 50% of the discussion should be led by the students. To continue with the workflow, now have discussions. Let them be interactive. Let the students take the lead. Propose tasks like suggestions instead of being ordered, not like do this. I suggest that you do this. Will make the environment more friendly. Be the mentor, not the one who's doing the work. You just should be mentoring rather than doing the work. Now, hands-on is very important. Give him codes to continue to comment, and prepare codes and tools for students to start playing with. Observe how much they read and how much they interact. Then, once you give them the code, basic code to play with or experiments to execute, then let them jump in the swimming pool. There would be a stage where they have to jump in the swimming pool and then find lots of things that they don't know. When the course is over, when the experiment is over, the mentor is expected to follow up with the students, because sometimes getting a paper published is a long process. So it's expected that you follow up for the advantage of all until the work gets published in a conference or journal. Here are some notes and feedback from experience. These notes we got them from graduate and postdoc from King Fahd University of Petroleum Minerals and also from Georgia Tech. We summarize them and we are sharing them with you. Rewards and encouragement. Everything they do right, there should be some encouragement, even a nice word. You are excellent, you're doing great, by the mentor or professor. Self-motivation. The mentor should make the undergraduate students feel that he is doing the work for himself rather than doing a task for his mentor. So it should come from start and from inside. And this requires some clear guidance and telling him that they are showing him what's the advantage for doing the work. Organization skills are important. Some students are well organized, some need some hints. Flexibility. Okay, for a successful experience, the mentor has to be flexible. because there are weeks during the semester, during the work, where students get busy with other stuff. Writing and coding style is something that is going to learn from you. Understanding students, be open-minded, try to understand their family needs to some extent. I mean, you don't have to go into details, but you know that they have issues that are not seen directly. One-to-one interaction. The more the mentor knows the students and asks them about how they are doing, the more the work would flourish, and he can help them and interact with them. Once the students trust and respect the mentor, they will work harder, not just to finish the assignment, but also not to frustrate the mentor. They would like to make sure that you have a good idea about them. Now we'll mention things from the student's point of view. Students would like the mentor to be attentive, use multiple modes of communication. They want you to be available because they want somebody to generate excitement continuously. And then they want to create a sense of community, like being together and drinking coffee and having some chats, like a research family. They would like it to be understanding, balancing criticism with positive, because sometimes they do mistakes and they don't want to listen to lots of criticism. And then encourage us to participate in the broader research community. So they don't want to feel that they're just doing one problem. They want to feel that they are part of the big research family, and they can attend conferences, internship, and they are involved. Now, lessons learned. The work continues after the end of the semester, and students are following up with their paper. In many cases, they would love to continue. So even if you stop, they would like to get their paper published. Students value their first paper to a degree that their family are ready to support their travel and registration fees, if appropriate. Importance of social research networks is very important. The moment that you get engaged there, the citations and impact on research will be dramatic. Now, you're also could be involved in the assessment, so that we could seek the input from the mentor to evaluate the performance. So keep this in your mind and don't make it personal. It has to have some records to assess the students. Now, one advantage of also mentoring students is to get involved with them in visits, including visiting research, academic research institutes, and also industrial research centers. And also being involved in all the activities, including lunch with researchers. Sometimes we arrange for scholars to talk to young students, and then the mentors will get involved. And also participating in expos and research forums by the university inside and outside. Of course, in addition to conferences, and the work, if published, will be a good reward. Now, did you know? This is something that you get to know as you get to be a mentor. The URO is an undergraduate research office at KFUBM. We have a special office for that at King Fahd University, and this is under the Students Excellence Center for now, under Student Affairs. And then we have something called CUR. CUR is a CUR is the Council of Undergraduate Research International. So you can search this. There's a PURM, the perspective of the undergraduate research and mentoring. So these are all institutions and bodies. You can search for them on the internet. Handbook of Undergraduate Research Mentoring. There's a handbook. Or there's another reference, which is the the Honors College at Columbus State University under Faculty 5. And I got some of the resources from them, so I'd like to acknowledge their help. Now let's conclude with some summaries. 6 tips for effective undergraduate research mentoring. Establish clear expectation. Tell them what is expecting from them, like at the end of the week or so. Teach them resilience. Make them strong. Foster their independence. As they grow with time, they should be more dependent on themselves. Make steps of the research process explicit. Make it clear. I want you to summarize the following paper. I want you to write this. Make it into clear and explicit steps so you can tell whether they have done the requirement or not. Incorporate routine check for understanding. Meet with them, ask them questions. Don't assume that things are going. Address professional development. So if they ask you about their future career there, so be attentive, and then if they ask you for recommendation letters and so, be supportive. So to conclude, please visit my personal website and research skills. You will find lots of resources, including a summary of this presentation and PDF. I have also my YouTube channels, which has a lot of resources about research skills. We have our Facebook undergraduate research at King Fahd University, KFUBM. I'd like to thank I got some slides from the following reference, so thank you very much. I also would like you to kindly spread the culture of undergraduate research by sharing and liking this video. Thank you very much, and see you in a coming video.